The forest was wrong. Not just quiet, hushed, like something had warned it. The wind didn't blow, birds didn't chirp, even the snow fell soundless, heavy. But that wasn't the worst part. The trees weren't just still. They were watching, leaning. I swear they leaned closer when I turned my back. I'd been tracking this buck for hours, long gashes in the snow, cloven prints wider than any I'd seen. I thought maybe it was sick. Dying, I told myself that. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. Then I saw it, alone in the clearing, half shrouded in mist. Antlers like gnarled fingers, fur matted with something dark. Its eyes were wrong, big, all black, no reflection. It didn't flinch when I raised my rifle. It didn't breathe, it just watched. My hand trembled, something in me screamed to run. My skin crawled like I'd been dipped in ice. "Don't," it whispered. But I didn't listen. I was tired, cold, desperate. I stepped forward and it ran. I chased it, blinded by snow, heart thundering in my chest. Trees blurred past like ghosts. My boot caught on something. I flew. I didn't fall. I dropped. A sheer cliff, hidden by the snowfall. I tumbled, twisted, slammed into branches, into stone. I felt something snap. I remember the sound of it more than the pain. Then everything went white, but not before I saw it. Just a flicker through the blur of snow and blood. A shape leaning over the edge where I fell. Wrong, twisted limbs, antlers catching moonlight. It didn't move, just watched as I vanished into the trees, its face hidden in the storm. And beneath the roar of wind and cracking bone, it smiled. I woke up with my mouth full of snow, couldn't breathe, couldn't move. I dragged my face free and screamed, but no sound came. Just a wheeze, a gasp. My leg was ruined, bent sideways at the knee, swelling against the fabric of my pants. The rifle lay half buried in powder. I pulled it close, checked the chamber. One round. My pack was gone. My phone, my knife, my ammo, my supplies. The cliff above me was a white wall. No way back, no help coming. The woods stretched around me like a grave, and I wasn't alone. There was no noise. Not yet, but there was a presence, like the weight of a shadow without a source. Thick in the air, pressing just behind me, turning each breath shallow, and something deep in the snow cracked behind me. Not a twig, but ice. Something heavy had stepped where no human should. Snow whispered beneath me as I crawled. Elbows raw, legs in excruciating pain. My own breath sounded too loud in the darkness. Then I heard it. Crunch, stop, crunch, stop. Too slow for a predator. Too deliberate for prey. It matched me. Not like it stalked me, more like it was rehearsing every move I made, echoing them with something just slightly off, like a shadow lagging behind. I turned. Nothing. But the trees looked closer. The branches hung lower. Shadows bled into the snow, and their footprints. Not hooves, not boots. Fingers, long, deep, dragging lines behind them, like claws too long to lift. They weren't following me, they were pacing me. Every time I stopped, they stopped. Every time I crawled, they moved just out of sight. Then the whispering started. Not words, not wind, just a thrum beneath the snow, like voices buried inches below, humming through the ice. And the trees, they blinked. Their knots opened, closed. Watching me, I shook my head, told myself I was delirious. But the air pulsed with something wrong. something old, like a predator studying its meal before it fed. It came when the last of the light faded. You dropped something. It was my voice, but distorted, twisted, like someone mimicking me through torn vocal cords. I spun around, nothing. Then inches from my ear. You never should have chased it. My blood turned to ice. I swung toward the sound, close, too close, and fired without thinking. The crack shattered the silence, then vanished. No echo, nothing. Then laughter, wet, gurgling, amused. Now you've got nothing. I kept moving, couldn't stop. My arms were jelly, my breath hitching in my throat with every drag forward. My body screamed for rest. But I knew, if I stopped, I'd never move again. The woods felt tighter now. Every tree gnarled into shapes that looked almost purposeful. Bark stretched thin over knots that resembled twisted faces. The smell had changed to thick and spoiled, like something long dead had thawed just enough to rot again. Somewhere behind me, it scraped. Not footsteps, no rhythm, just a long, steady drag, as if something too tall was pulling itself forward with elbows instead of feet. The wind shifted. It carried a sound, ragged breathing. Not mine. I turned, heart hammering, nothing, just snow and dark. I pushed forward, barely conscious, past something half buried, a rib cage, human or close. The bones had been gnawed, cracked open like kindling. The trees began whispering again. This time they used my name. Then came the click of teeth behind me. Not a snarl, not a growl, just teeth grinding. I collapsed at the edge of a frozen stream, my face pressed to the ice. Beneath it, shapes twisted, hands, eyes, things that should have never existed. And I felt heat in this bitter cold. I looked up, it was there, towering, lean, covered in flesh that didn't fit. Its limbs too long, bent wrong. Antlers dripped something black. Its face was stretched, lips torn at the corners, and in its mouth, yellowed, cracked fangs spaced unevenly, too large for the jaw that held them. But it didn't lunge. It tilted its head and smiled. I don't remember closing my eyes. Only the whisper that slipped into my head like smoke. Keep going. When I opened my eyes, the trail ahead was clear, too clear. Snow flattened unnaturally, almost swept, like something had prepared it for me. A gift or a lure. No prints this time, no sound. But the trees leaned away from that path like they knew better. It had been here. It had stood right over me, watched me breathe. Chose not to end it. I could still feel the warmth where it hovered, and the echo of its smile etched into my bones. So I crawled, not toward safety, just away from the thing that let me live. The snow began to slope downward, a gradual descent at first, then steeper. My arms gave out, and I slid, face first, into a hollow that hadn't been there before. I landed hard, on bone. A pit, dozens of antlers jutted like broken ribs from the ground. Tattered scraps of cloth and gnawed limbs littered the frozen floor. The stink hit next, decay layered over rot. I wasn't the first. I wouldn't be the last. Above, the trees didn't move. The wind didn't blow. And the Wendigos waited in the dark, breathing, listening, smiling.